All right, so our first topic tonight is going to be the NBA playoffs, which started this weekend. So we're just going to talk about some of the matchups that we found interesting.
I find the most intriguing matchup the Bulls and Nets series, because it's two great teams playing each other, and we saw a blowout in Game 1. We saw it flip-flop on the other hand, where Chicago dominated, where they got blown out in Game 1. Where do you see the series going?
Ooh, it's going to be a tough one. I got the Nets, though, simply because, you know, D Rose is not playing. Excuse me. And Noah's hurt. I mean, he's obviously not 100%. I mean, he wielded his way through Game 2 last night.
Yeah.
I mean, he had there was, like, highlights where he had key rebounds, you know, a block shot on Brook Lopez. Like, he was playing his heart out. But I don't know if he has that in him for the next 5 games. I see Darren Williams being too much. I see Brook Lopez being too much inside. So I got the Nets in 7. It's going to go 7.
You think it's going to 7? I say 6 if Noah doesn't play all the games, just because Noah can provide that factor.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he was icing his leg, or his foot, whatever's hurt. And just for the Bulls to make it this high without Derrick Rose is a statement that they can play without their superstar. So we'll see what goes on.
Maybe not at a championship level.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not.
It's tough, though. It's tough because, you know, you want the Bulls to battle Miami or New York, but, I mean, they're definitely not going to. And
what about the Knicks-Celtics series?
That to me is the most interesting series, basically because, you know, KG was trash talking Melo about his wife early on in the season, excuse me. And then it was a great Game 1. I mean, Melo started off hot, then he went cold, and then he proved clutch. Finished
what,
hot
36?
36, yeah, 36.
And a couple of key late threes.
And a key pass to Kenny Martin, to ice the game.
What about the West Side?
The West Side, I mean, simply because, you know, James Harden is coming back to Oklahoma City, but it's not really an interesting series because Oklahoma City's probably going to sweep. And they won by like 20-some points Game 1. So, I mean, come on now. I mean, and then as far as the other matchups in the West, Spurs, I mean, I thought it was going to be an interesting series, the Lakers and the Spurs, but they can't guard Tony Parker. They can't guard Manu. And, you know, with Steve Nash not being 100%, excuse me, and then, you know, Steve Blake not being as quick to guard Tony Parker because, you know, Tony Parker can just go inside and just do them floaters. And then Manu's too quick, even though he looks like he's 50, but, you know, he's still quick. And you get to the basket, you know, shoot threes. He had, like, a couple of threes in the game.
And here's an interesting fact about that series. 5 of the last 6 Game 1 winners went on to win the series. And on top of that, they have reached the finals. So this is kind of a statement series. But I don't know if they can beat OKC if they're still there when it comes down to the conference finals. So San Antonio and OKC.
Yeah, because, I mean, Tony Parker is athletic. But, you know, matching up with Westbrook, I think that's going to be a disadvantage because, you know, a controlled Westbrook, I'm not talking about an out-of-control Westbrook. An out-of-control Westbrook is just going to be the downfall of the Thunder.
All right.
And, so we're going to get into the next topic, which is the Darrelle Revis trade that happened yesterday. And he got traded to the Buccaneers. And what do you think of that trade, Matt?
I think it's great for Darrelle Revis because obviously there was a mismatch in New York where he wanted out or he wanted to stay in New York, wanted him out. They weren't gelling anymore. And the only person that really wanted him there, I feel like, is Rex Ryan. And Rex Ryan said he was like his favorite player, you know, he's Revis' biggest fan. And he didn't put him on the IR until late in the season, just because of the fact that Rex Ryan believed that the Jets were Super Bowl bound or whatever reason. But, I think it's great for Tampa. They get a star corner. It helps their defense. They were one of the worst passing defenses in the league. Now they're coming up with this shutdown corner who has proven that with him on the field, they cause more interceptions and less touchdowns. So I think it only speaks volumes on Tampa Bay willing to go out and get that player instead of having to draft a D. Milner or somebody else in the draft. Yeah,
because they got Goldson from, San Francisco to add on to Revis. Because this is basically the 4 people out there in the secondary. Is Revis, is Goldson, is Mark Barron, who had a great rookie season.
Yes.
And then you have Eric Wright, who did not deserve all that money that he got. So let me just say this little stat real quick. So in 2 games last season, Revis had a pick and 8 tackles. In 16 games last year, Eric Wright had only 1 interception. Just 1. So basically, you know, you're getting an upgrade, and then teams are going to throw it to Eric Wright's side. Hopefully, you know, he can better perform this upcoming season, and hopefully, you know, Revis proves himself because he's not getting any guaranteed money. The contract it's 16 million, but I mean, if he gets hurt, he doesn't get any of that money. So he's really trusting in himself that he's going to come back and perform like he
And
did
be healthy.
early on. Exactly. So, on to our next topic since we're rolling right through. Let's get to the Nats and the O's this year. And, okay, viewer question. Wow, this is new. So, who is the hottest woman in sports? Nat, what's up, bro?
I say Skylar Diggins, Notre Dame guard. She is probably the reason why I partially watched the NCAA Women's Final Four and college
True.
basketball in general. She is really hot. So.
Oh man, this is a tough one.
What about Rory McIlroy's wife?
Oh,
or-
Caroline Wozniacki?
Yeah.
True. I was thinking Serena, but I mean, she's too manly though. So probably Wozniacki. I think, yeah, because Rory, he's got that game.
Or how about
trying to get her.
Elena Dillon from
That's what I
Delaware?
was thinking too, Elena Deladon, which is probably why I would know. The only reason why I would know Delaware had a women's basketball team. And I mean, she went to Connecticut, and then she did her thing though. I mean, she got the model good looks, got drafted third in the WNBA draft. She's about to do work, man. I mean, she's a very beautiful young lady, beautiful woman, I should say, not young lady, because I mean, I'm not old. But, And another viewer question that we have today. So, who will be the best QB in the draft? And then the second question is, who will be first to go?
You want to take this?
I think Gino's going to be the first one off the board. If, the Jets, we're just going to get to the next part in our show. If the Jets, decide to draft him and groom him as a replacement or just get rid of Sanchez. So I think he'll be the first one to go. It depends on the situation.
I think so too, especially as I was looking at CBS.com in their mock draft with one of their experts who has him going 13, and that's from that Tampa Bay pick for Cindy Rivas.
That's right.
And what I don't get is if they invested all that money into the Mark Sanchez marriage, and Rex Ryan says he's my guy, then why are they going to draft him? But I think that's the best fit because Sanchez the last 2 years hasn't done anything. He's been a mediocre quarterback his whole career.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't stepped up to that elite level yet. He hasn't. I mean, you can't blame him when he doesn't have an elite receiver, but he's had Berlin Edwards, who's big, and yeah.
All right, so on to another viewer question. Hey, okay, we're rocking and rolling today. All right, so who will get the Madden cover? It's between Barry Sanders and Adrian Peterson.
I like Barry Sanders because, he kind of helped revolutionize the running back aspect of the game, and he was always on top of things and a very popular guy. Cut his career short because he felt like Detroit was never going to be a winner, but they say that he would be the all-time leading rusher right now if he did not retire. So I got to think that a lot of the older generation, a little bit older than us, will vote for him because
I think he was the first one who got the cover of Madden too, because he was like
Back
a
in
little
99, yeah.
shadow
Yeah.
on Madden, and I honestly think that people don't want to get Adrian Peterson hurt again.
Yeah.
they want to
He's
mess
a
with
Madden
that because I mean
curse.
he already came back, and honestly, for Barry's sake, probably like one of the. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but I think Barry's gonna get it too. And the last question, thank you, viewer. So how much will the Skins suck?
This all depends on the health of RG3. If he doesn't come back the first 4 games, the Skins could be 0-4, 1-3, but I do not see them having a winning record without RG3. He's a big part of that offense. And Kirk Cousins, let's be real, he can't run. He can't run like the offense like RG3 can.
Let me look at this camera right here. The Redskins are not going to suck this year. They are not going to suck. Whether RG3's in there, whether Kirk Cousins is in there, we're going to be a good team. Now, with RG3, we're obviously going to be thinking Super Bowl. With Kirk Cousins, we're going to be thinking 8-8. Let me look back at Matt real quick. So,
Did you just say Super Bowl with RG3 this year?
I did.
Have you not?
I did.
Have you not seen that, like, his knee is, even though it's been reconstructed twice now,
So what?
they're going to have to
Let me take my partisan Redskins fan out of me, real quick. I think that they have a chance to make the Super Bowl. I mean, you got Fred Davis coming back. You got Alfred Morris, who's one of the best running backs in the league.
Didn't Fred Davis fail a drug test for marijuana? Just answer the question, please.
Yes, he did fail. Okay. But what is? Okay, that doesn't have anything to do with it. He's a great. He's
It
a
can
great tight end.
reoccur. It can reoccur
He's
this
not.
year.
He's not gonna fail the drug test, and then you, and then.
I doubt he would pass one right now if we asked him to.
Okay. And then our defense is gonna be much improved, so we'll see what happens.
You do have a Rackpo coming back. I'll give you that.
We got a Rackbo coming back, so exactly. So, and I am not saying that. Okay. So
you're wacko for Flacco is what you're saying?
I am not wacko for Flacco. I think he got overpaid. I seriously think he got overpaid. I mean, it's funny though because you saw him go to McDonald's after he signed that contract.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny that he got something about the dollar menu,
yeah.
A little icy, a little ice like fraud, like the ice cream
yeah.
frogs and whatever. So you don't know. But I am not wacko for Flacco. So.
NFL draft time.
NFL draft time, huh?
That's Thursday night.
Thursday night.
At what, 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock.
ESPN.
So, mock drafts. Let me get the right notes here. So, me and Matt are going to do who we think is going to go in the top 10. You've probably all seen mock drafts, so we're going to do our little mock draft here. So, Matt, who you got in your top 10?
I got this is from CBS. I just copied down what they said.
I'm disappointed in you. It's okay.
I like Blake Jackal, the offensive tackle from Alabama.
Okay.
And I'm happy that they don't have Geno Smith back in here because I don't think he's worthy of a top 10 pick, let alone at 20.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any quarterback should be this year because they weren't outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Except if Manziel was eligible, then I would put him in the top 10. But I don't know. I think D. Milner should be taken in the top around 5, 6. Just because he's that shutdown corner that maybe the Jets should sneak up and trade their ninth pick up for in future picks. So yeah, who do you have standing out?
Let's see, Matt, since someone came prepared today. I have Luke Jokel going number 1 to Kansas City. Number 2, I got Eric Fisher.
The offensive tackle.
Yeah, the offensive tackle. The
Oh.
offensive tackle from Central Michigan.
Okay, yeah.
It could flip flop really because people have Fisher going to Kansas City.
Too. I just want to run down the top 10.
Yeah, it's all good. So number 3, I got Sharif Floyd from Florida. Dude's a beast. He was on SportsCenter the other day.
Yeah.
I got D. Milner going to Philly because they cut Asamoah. They got rid of Rogers Cromartie as well. So I think that they're gonna draft Milner, despite his injury concerns. He had like 5 surgeries. Then number 5, I got Deion Jordan from Oregon.
Outside linebacker.
Yep. And then at number 6, I got Mingo from LSU going to Cleveland to match up with Kruger.
He's
that
a
dude
scary
is
defensive
freaky athletic. He's pretty swole. Number 7, Arizona, I got Ansah from BYU. Very raw, but very athletic player.
Yeah.
Number 8, I got Cooper, the offensive guard from North Carolina. I don't got a quarterback going there. I see them getting Nassib from Syracuse.
Yeah, in the second round.
Yeah, just bringing back the coach and the quarterback.
Yeah.
Number 9, I got Jarvis Jones from Georgia. I like Rex getting a linebacker.
What about his health concerns where he has with that spinal
stenosis?
Yeah, where he says he can only play about 5 to 10 years. I mean, that's a lot. That's a high risk.
I understand, but going into health risk.
Yeah.
It's my number 10 pick, the last pick. To Tennessee, I got Star Lotui from Utah with heart problems.
Yeah.
And I see him being like the next Auburn Hayesworth, honestly. I see the valid comparisons, but I think he's going to be a better player than Auburn Hayesworth.
Yeah, Auburn Hayesworth didn't do anything.
Yeah, after you got that $100 million and decided
that Dan Snyder was happy to write his check for.
Get those Krispy Kremes, stay on the field, and just chill.
Lay on the ground for 8 seconds while Mike Vick was.
No, it was like a minute.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. That's for another day, though. But yeah, that's my top 10. But it should be an interesting draft, man. It should. Looking forward to it.
Do you see Geno in the first round?
No.
You don't see any quarterback in the first round?
If the Jets decide that, Geno is the answer, besides Sanchez, then yes. But if
that's
not,
the only team you see? That's
the only team I see drafting a quarterback. I could be wrong. You never know the NFL draft. You're going to see a lot of interesting things.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot of things go, whoa, I didn't see that coming. But, Thursday is right around the corner, man. Looking forward to it. Most exciting time of the year as far as the NFL is concerned. And
baseball.
And baseball, yes, O's and Nats. So we're going to talk about O's and the Nats. Nationals have struggled the last couple of games, and the O's have done very well.
The Nats are 10-9 right now. They're 4 games back of the league-leading Atlanta Braves.
Yup.
They're actually tied for second, but the Mets have the tiebreaker over them right now.
Yep.
I'm actually happy because all the Nats hype this year about World Series or bust is going to come true. They are not going to the World Series. I don't see them being 98 wins like they were last year. Their pitching is the question. And I'm sorry, but when you can't have another person produce besides Bryce Harper, it's kind of hard to win when you have one player on offense battling and producing.
Yeah, you're right. Because as I go down the list, Harper's having a career year. Second
Already?
time, yeah, already at 20 years old, already tied for second in the league in home runs, batting over 350, and then you got I'm going down the list, man, and he's like the only guy that's even performing.
Zimmerman's hurt.
Zimmerman's hurt. You have the kid Rendon come up this week. He had an error his first game, and he had a RBI double yesterday, but still lost to the Cardinals. And then you got the O's who won 3 out of 4 though.
Yeah, they're 2 games back of Boston. I don't see that staying around much longer because Boston, I just don't think they can thrive off of the energy and whatnot for this long. It's too early in the season. They're going to fall apart like Kansas City's first in the Central right now, and I just don't see like those kind of teams hanging on. Like it's a great story for the first 2 weeks of the season.
Very true.
But that's why you play 162 games, and they've played about 20, so they got 140 left. I think the O's will take the division because Toronto's not playing that well. With all that
last place.
Yeah.
8 and 12.
I mean, I kind of saw it coming because if you look back at 2000 with the Mets, they signed all those Roberto Alomar Mobile, they didn't do anything.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And then with the Phillies getting Roy Oswalt, Holiday, and Lee, they didn't. And
They were
Hamels,
almost last place last year.
Yeah, I mean,
If it wasn't for the Marlins.
signing big name players does not automatically result in rings. Because look at what the Yankees have done in the past too.
What the Angels have done in
Yeah,
the past 2
the
years.
Angels won't make
Pujols
it.
and
The Angels
Hamilton.
won't do anything. C.J. Wilson.
They're at 7-11 right now, and they
Yeah.
dropped Hamilton in the order apparently. Man, what's going on there? I mean, you gotta love the kid Trout though.
He had a grand slam the other day in that 9-inning first.
First inning against the Tigers. Yep. And then, man, I mean, we'll see what happens because I mean, the Central in the NL is competitive right now. You got teams separated by half a game within the game. So Cincinnati's in first place. Then you have St. Louis and then you have Milwaukee. Milwaukee's always competitive though, even though they got rid of Prince Fielder.
Yeah.
They still got Braun. Let's see, they got Gallardo, their starter. He's highly underrated, very underrated.
That whole pitching staff is underrated just because of how well they do year in and year out with no big names.
Besides getting Sabathia 1 year and then Greinke, which is why Greinke got that huge contract. From
and then he's hurt with a broken collarbone because of the fight.
That was funny to watch, man. Honestly, that fight was hilarious because he tried to shoulder the guy, and then he's out for like until the All-Star break apparently. Yeah.
Same thing with Jeter. Jeter's now until at least the All-Star break.
Man, yeah, the Yankees are pretty
hurting,
much,
but they're sticking around. Kinda.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Somehow, because I mean, you got the emotional lift of Rivera coming back, providing stability to the bullpen, even though you had Soriano defect to the Nationals, and he's done marginally well this year. He's kind of underperformed for how much he got paid. I mean, it's early on in the season. We'll see what happens, but he's underperformed. And, and we're going to get into a new segment on the show. It's called the What If Game. So, Matt, why don't you introduce the first What If topic?
All right. Basically, this is where we ask a question by saying what if. So we're going to start off with, what if the Caps win this year? What does it mean?
That after 6 years of just almost getting there, only one. Actually, not almost. I wouldn't call it almost. You're right. Because they only had 1 year where they made the Eastern Conference Finals, and that was it. And then you had last year, which is kind of like this year, except for this year they had a losing record, and now I think tonight they play Winnipeg, and they beat Winnipeg. They clinched the Southeast after very trying year, which the lockout, new coach. Is Ovi slumping? Then you have Ovi leading the team, leading the league in goals, and you just the team made a complete 180, man. It's crazy.
It's nice to see the Caps finally get gelling at the right moment because if if you look back, like you don't have to be the best team through the whole season to win it. You just gotta get hot at the right time. And I like if the Cavs can play together and hopefully make noise this year, they can get over that hump and possibly contend for a cup.
Man, I would love to see them in Chicago right now.
That'd be nice.
Because I think that's who's going to come out
of the West.
Of the West, yeah. And, man,
all right, moving on to the next
topic. All right, so the second one is what if Manti Te'o gets drafted by the Ravens?
I don't think that's going to happen because he's projected to go either the Giants earlier or the Vikings, and from what Mel Kiper and Tom McShay were saying, that's where he's most likely to go. And then if he happens to fall to Baltimore, they'll take him. But I think those two teams will take him first over those two teams. So what do you think?
Well, if he drops down to the Ravens, I see the Ravens picking him. I do.
To replace Ray Lewis?
To replace Ray Lewis, because you had Rolando McClain, who got signed a month or so ago, and he got arrested again.
And Alabama's
again. How you get arrested again? And then you yelling obscenities to the cops? Come on, man, you gotta be smart. But come on, seriously? And then I just see him providing a leadership role, even though, his leadership qualities have been questioned. The whole Lene Kakua thing. And, catfished. And not performing up to his standards in the title game against Alabama, getting basically bum rushed by Eddie Lacy and the Alabama offensive line. But, we'll see how he does in the NFL, because, nobody remembers the 32nd pick unless, it's like Darrell Green.
Yeah.
Which is like one. But, if he underperforms, they can just let him go.
Yes.
They're not giving him a lot of money. And then, if he turns out to be the next Ray Lewis, nobody's going to be the next Ray Lewis. But, if he turns out to be a really great linebacker, all-pro, Pro Bowl caliber, then, that's great for them.
So it's a win-win for Baltimore.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win.
All right, moving on to the next question, second to last one. What if Kobe comes back before Derrick Rose? Do you see it happening?
No. Achilles. One reason I say that, Achilles. Say that with me, Matt. Say it with me.
Achilles. Okay.
I don't see him coming back before Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is healthy right now. We both know that it's a mental thing with Derrick Rose right now. He's going to come back next year. He's not going to come back this year because, he doesn't want to mess with the Bulls' chemistry right now. And you have Noah hurt. They're not going to make a solid run right now. If Noah was healthy, if everybody on the Bulls was healthy right now, plug him back in. But, they're hurt right now. So you cannot do that right now if you're Tom Thibodeau. You got to leave him on the bench, just have him there, and then be ready for next year and be ready to dominate.
I think that there's a small chance this could happen just because Derrick Rose was reportedly supposed to come back late February, early March, and that hasn't happened. It keeps getting pushed back. And they were saying, right before the playoffs, he's going to come back the last 5 games. That didn't happen. So it's like, we're waiting for next season. And then when next season approaches, it's still mental because if he's not mentally prepared to jump off both feet and dunk it, he's not going to play because he hasn't prepared himself for coming back into the game motion. That's why those last 5 games would have been nice. Play him, you got to start out somewhere.
True.
And I can see Kobe coming back just because Kobe wants to get back on that court. Kobe has that killer mentality of, hey, I'm healthy, I'm going to play. And this is like my last shot. So he's going to be hungry, he's going to. But I could also see him coming back at the same time, bringing fresh starts to the next season. So that's another option.
Kobe's a warrior. So we'll see what happens there. And get into the last what if. What if Geno Smith gets drafted by the Jets at number 13?
I like this based on the fact that the Jets have had an experience with Mark Sanchez. They've realized he's not their guy. Early in his career, he managed the game. He won games for them. He wasn't asked to do a lot. These last 2 years, he's been asked to do a lot. And he's shown that he can't be that guy. And so what do? You start fresh with Geno Smith.
And I honestly think Sanchez made a mistake coming out his junior year, and then the Jets signed him to all that money after he underperformed, and I just think they just made him destined to fail. It was just a hubris thing. The hero, well, not the hero in this case, because he's not. Butt fumble everybody.
Yeah.
But if Geno gets drafted, it's good for the Jets. Hopefully he does well. Woo. Okay, a viewer question. So, will Carmelo Anthony become MVP next season, or will LeBron secure it for sure? Well, this year. I'm thinking that's what the viewer's saying.
I think with Carmelo winning the scoring title, he puts up a shot. But you have to look at what LeBron's done this season for that team. He had that streak where he shot over 60% in like 5-6 straight games while scoring more than 25 points. That stands out a lot, and he's also guided that team to #1 seed. As much as I hate to say it, I think it's LeBron's to lose because Carmelo, the only thing he did was get him to a 2 seed and a scoring title.
It's kind of like the AL MVP discussion last year with Trout and Cabrera, because Cabrera had the Triple Crown, and then Trout just, I mean, he carried that Angels team last year, man, seriously. So, honestly, I think LeBron's going to go back-to-back on this MVP thing, even though Melo led the league in scoring, basically lifted the Knicks. So, yes, I do think.
Derrick Rose won it last year. This would be LeBron's 3rd in 4 years.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, that's right. No, he won. No, it was Derrick Rose, LeBron, and then this year. That's what it was. Because I was trying to remember who won the year previous to LeBron last year. It was D. Rose.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry, so it would have been 4 and 5 years.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which is outstanding, I mean.
But I think this is Carmelo's best shot to win the MVP with what he's done this year.
Unfortunately, he's not going to get it. He'll probably get
there's
second.
a guy in South Beach named LeBron James.
And there's a guy in L.A. named Kobe.
Yeah, and Kobe deserves it, I think, a lot more because he had to fight for that 8 seed and got him there on his back.
He got him to #7.
Sorry, 7th seed.
Not even like number 8. And another viewer question. So, what turned the Caps around this season, man?
I think just team unity towards the end. They finally gelled at the right moment. I think they finally learned the coach's system, Adam Oates' system, and it seems to be working right now. And Obi's put the team on his back kind of like Kobe has.
They tried to get like a couple of wins under them, because Ovechkin struggled on the season. People were thinking about calling for his head, trying to get him traded out of Washington, even though he signed that big contract a couple of years back. And he not, like I said, he leads the league in goals. And, he basically carried the team, honestly. Yeah. And like you said, learning Adam Oates' system after, so many games and, finally coming into fruition, all that hard work. And, they're going to get that #3 seed. Hopefully they beat Winnipeg tonight.
Even if they go to overtime, they'll still have a point advantage over them.
Exactly. I think if they win, I don't even think it's like overtime or regulation. I think if they win, they just get the spot.
Yeah.
So, just remarkable. It's remarkable.
It's nice.
And anything else that you want to add, sir?
What do you think the odds are that Matt Barkley goes before the Syracuse guy?
Very slim.
Very slim? You think he's the 3rd?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's the 3rd quarterback that gets drafted. I think it's Geno, then the guy from Syracuse, and then Barkley. And I see Barkley getting drafted by a team that's primarily in the West Coast offense, that primarily runs their West Coast offense. So, I mean, we'll see how he performs when he gets there, because they said that he can't drive. I was reading the scouting report that said he can't drive the ball down the field. And I mean, he's a great leader though.
Yeah.
Four-year starter at USC.
Went into the horseshoe his first year and
went into Ohio State his freshman year and won.
Yeah.
That's when they were the #1 team in the country. And then
they were also #1 earlier this year, and they fell apart.
And then you dealt with the sanctions for 2 years.
Yes, 3. His first 3 years.
Exactly. First 3 years, and then I don't blame him coming back. I don't blame him coming back. Yeah, he was thirsty for a title.
All right, last question.
And I can't even see the last question. It's all right though. Wow. That is a deep and personal question. All right, let me. So let me just finish answering your. Last question. Are either of you single? And if one of you is, do you like brunettes?
I can simply say I'm taken. So, questions to you, David.
I am single. And do I like brunettes? Yes, I do. And can't even do it with a straight face anymore. Thank you for all your time today. Thank you for all of your questions. Some of them serious, some of them not. Appreciate it. Tune in In 2 weeks, actually. I got a dance to do next week, so we can't do it.
Okay.
But tune in 2 weeks for the Never Ending Sports Debate. I'm David Cabrera.
I'm Matthew Forney.
Have a good night.